Hey, it's Matt Moscona. You found it. It's AFR LSU, your home for daily content on your favorite team, Fighting Tigers of LSU. And we're proud to be presented by BetUS, where this football season, get a 150% bonus on your first deposit and a 125% bonus on your next two deposits up to $2,000. Be sure to use the promo code YouTube150. Now, enjoy the video. And every Tuesday, we visit with Shea Dixon from On3, the Bengal Tiger. Shady, how are you, man?
I'm doing well, Matt. How are you? I feel like we haven't talked in forever.
Well, we did talk last week whenever I was at Media Row. Yeah. So, you were gone the week before, but then last week we caught up, just not in our regular slot. So it's not been that long, but I guess it's not that memorable for you. Sorry.
No, I guess maybe time just moving slow. It has nothing to do with you. Let's make it. Here we are every Tuesday.
Is time moving?
In a dead period, so we've got to come up with stuff to talk about here.
That was going to be my question. So it is a dead period. So kind of catch us up on the calendar and what that means for recruiting right now.
Yeah. So for everyone who forgot, the first Wednesday in February was signing day. And LSU didn't have any big announcements, anything like that. Everything was done in the early signing period, and I kind of joke about it, Matt, but the reality is there was a time when, the bulk of the class was in the early period, and you had a handful of guys who were signing late, even more, I think Don McKinley even might have been one of those guys.
Yeah.
You're at zero in February, and that's where a lot of schools were. So the new signing day is 100% that early period because it allows you in December, right, to sign your high school class, figure out who's coming back on your team, who's leaving, who's entering the portal, and then what you need out of the portal during that kind of one big window that stretches, 30-plus days. So that's when all the off-season roster management, by and large, in terms of next year's roster happens, and I think LSU handled it pretty well. Signed a really good recruiting class, signed one of the best portal classes, and they used the past month of January to get out on the road and kind of officially turn the page to what is now the 2026 class of recruits. And those are the guys we've talked about, from Blaine Bradford at Catholic High to Lamar Brown at U High, who are 5 stars in Baton Rouge. And all of these guys are part of that rising senior class. So it'll be a deep one in Louisiana. 10 guys already have LSU offers, which they didn't even hit double digits this past cycle, I don't believe. At least in terms of guys who maybe could have committed at the end. I'd have to double check that. But if they did, it wasn't much more than that. So a lot of offers early. And now after that signing day that wasn't a signing day in early February, we are in a month-long dead period before spring practices kick up, and they invite the kids in for that. So that's the rundown of kind of how things work now between December signing period, a busy January on the road, and then a very quiet February.
We'll get right back to the video. Thrilled to tell you about our partners once again at BetUS, where new customers, you can make a deposit and get a 150% bonus on your first deposit, 125% bonus on your next two deposits, up to $2,000. Use the promo code YouTube150. Look, college football's over, but we can start looking ahead for college football futures bets. How about if we look at Garrett Nussmeier's Heisman odds for next season? It's this easy. You go to BetUS, you see the drop-down menu there on the left side for football. There's college football specials. Just like that, you'll see a lot of different things. Bill Belichick, prop bets, and whatnot. But here is the early lines on next year's Heisman. Arch Manning, John Mateer, DJ Lagway, and then how about Garrett Nussmeier at plus 800? Easy enough. A $10 bet on Nuss to win the Heisman would win me $80. I'll take a flyer on Nuss at plus 800. Couple of quick taps, and just like that, we are locked in for Garrett Nussmeier at plus 800 to win the Heisman Trophy next year. They win at Clemson week 1. You're not getting a better number than that. You can get it now at BetUS. Make sure you use the promo code YouTube150 to get a 150% bonus on your first deposit, 125% bonus on your next two deposits, up to $2,000. Enjoy the rest of the video. Yeah, you're right. A year ago, Don McKinley signed in February, and they were also in on Terry Bussey right until the end, who ultimately picked A&M. If I'm not,
that's right.
That's how that went. So look at me, Shea. How about that pull? Huh?
I told you want my job?
No, I don't at all. I just listen. I listen when you talk.
Good job.
Hey, there's I noticed this earlier today as well. The story that we talked about last week was Jerylan McCoy, who had been committed to LSU for about a month. He decommitted. Looks like he was going to be Ole Miss. Well, then today, I noticed it on 3 and everywhere that his 5 official visitor lists are out, and it's Ole Miss, not surprisingly, Florida, Texas A&M, Auburn, and LSU. So make sense of this. The kid was committed, decommitted. Everyone thinks he's going to Ole Miss, but now he's still going to take an official to LSU. What gives?
Yeah, we'll see how it plays out. I mean, LSU's are obviously got a handful of edge types that they're going to be after in this class, and they didn't slow down after he decommitted nor ahead of when he committed, which lasted about a month, if even that. So I do think that, he's a Tupelo kid, so I think that Ole Miss is certainly the team you would point to as the one to beat. But if he does end up making 5 visits, of course, LSU would get one. The team he was committed to, not in January, just a few weeks ago. So I don't expect that he winds up at LSU after kind of committing and then decommitting like that, but we'll see how things play out. Look, I mean, they've been, whether it's East Texas or Mississippi or kind of into the Gulf Coast, they've done pretty well here recruiting in recent years. Now, Tupelo is a different beast when it comes to getting State or Ole Miss top talent guys they want, but South Mississippi, I think, is kind of where they can really reel in guys, whether it's P.J. Woodland or Tyler Miller or now it has Tristan Keys, 5-star number 1 player in the wide receiver in the country. So Mississippi's got talent. I just don't know if they can beat out into kind of mid and North Mississippi for State and Ole Miss with guys. That's tough sledding.
Shea Dixon on 3, the Bengal Tiger. He's on Twitter at Shea Dixon. Shea, I'm sure a big part of our conversation throughout this coming recruiting cycle is going to focus on quarterback. Obviously, they didn't take a 2025 quarterback. We know they went out of Van Buren. But that's just got to be a major focus in 2026. You and I have talked a lot about the 27 guys already, how big of a year that is in Louisiana. But where does the focus start to hone in for 2026, Shea?
I mean, Joe Sloan had been recruiting all of these guys before, you talk I've talked to a couple of these guys who said, hey, look, since 9th grade, Joe Sloan was on me, when he got to LSU. So these guys are about to be seniors. So they've had offers out for a long time. And when Underwood was committed to all these, you sort of forgot about that. Everyone presumed, okay, they're not going to be able to get a top 5 or 10 quarterback the year after Underwood because he is this, number 1 overall 5-star plus prospect that
sure.
Is going to be tough to follow, right? Well, when I was in New Orleans this past weekend, and a handful of guys that have LSU offers were there, and I'll use Jonas Williams for an example. This is a guy out of Illinois. He's the top 10 quarterback. He's committed to Oregon. But a lot of people don't think that sticks, and it's LSU and USC, Southern Cal, Lincoln Riley, and that staff would be the 2 teams he's really looking at, he said, if he were to move on from his Oregon commitment. And he talked about everything from Joe Sloan and that relationship starting in 9th grade to Underwood not going to LSU, which opened the door for this 2026 class of quarterbacks to say, hey, look, they just took a transfer instead of taking a guy like Underwood in that 2025 class and not signing any quarterback. So they see it kind of like the door opened a bit more for them, a little bit wider than maybe it would have been had Underwood stuck with it and signed with LSU and been on campus right now. So Williams is one to watch. I think over in Houston, Keyshawn Henderson's one to watch. He's committed to Houston right now, but he was down there this weekend. He's no doubt one of the top quarterbacks in the country. Diabell, they've been on out forever out of American Heritage, which they've landed guys out of Fort Lauderdale before, but he's committed to Texas right now. It's kind of a theme here. A lot of these guys are committed, so it's going to take a flip. But another I'd watch is Jake Fetty, who's a top 10 quarterback committed to Arizona State out of El Paso. He's skyrocketing up the rankings, and Sloan had offered him a while back. I think that he's one that kind of surges to the top of the kind of watch list moving forward because at this stage, and look, Bo Bentley out of Texas did get an offer, a 4-star, a couple of weeks back from Joe Sloan. But by and large, if they're going to get a big-time quarterback in this class, Matt, it's likely going to mean flipping him from somebody else. So we're on flip watch when it comes to quarterbacks this cycle, just given LSU kind of had to start kind of a little bit later than the others when Underwood left him at the altar, and you turn around and get after 2026. And a lot of these guys were already committed to schools.
What's the other option, Shea?
I think they're going to wind up actually probably getting a high end. I'd be very surprised if a top 10 quarterback didn't sign with LSU this class. I just think that's where they're at right now. There's nothing that's stopping it. I don't think Van Buren coming in as a guy who's already played a year is a big hurdle for anyone. Obviously, Nussmeier's in his final year. We've already seen Ricky Collins enter the portal. You just don't know how the quarterback depth will look. So I think that someone's going to jump on this. Look, they're putting out the things that Joe Burrow and now Jaden Daniels have done for quarterbacks, and let alone then knowing, guys like Malik and Brian Thomas are just down there growing on trees that every 2 years they spit out these top 10 picks and 20 picks. That's what these quarterbacks have said. That's exactly what I'm looking for, somewhere where I can succeed and play at a high level, and you're in the SEC, and you've got all the weapons on offense. And they just signed number 1 running back in Harlan Berry, 2 top 10 running backs. So this is an offense, I think, that has the attention of a lot of quarterbacks. Just now that Underwood's out of the picture, guys are starting to kind of really move forward and say, hey, look, I'm a bit more interested than I have been before.
And obviously you talked about the receivers. 2026 is a massive receiver year for Louisiana as well. It goes without saying, Shea, when you have to sell what LSU does with Jefferson and Chase and now Malik and Brian Thomas and prior to that Art Jarvis and Odell and just all the receivers, this 26 feels like it could be the next receiver crop like that. Agreed? Is that it's obviously a little ambitious, but it feels like it's one of those kinds of years?
No, absolutely. It is. And we'll hear more and more names surface of and kind of who's really the elite, end up in the SEC type guys that LSU will take a hard look at. And I think we're going to be back to those classes where 5, 6 plus wide receivers in Louisiana, people look at and say they've got an offer. That's the guy you would take, and who gets in, we'll see. But right now, just look at the guys they have committed. Ja'Kai Anderson out of McDonough 35, he went for 57 catches for basically 1,000 yards, just short of it, and 14 touchdowns. Then he goes and has 150-something yards and 4 touchdowns on like 15 carries running the football. And then he returns punts and everything else for him. He had 500 yards and 7 touchdowns. So an electric guy, first-team All-State. And then right below him on first-team All-State is their other commitment. This is listed in alphabetical order, but I'm reading it. Kenny Darby, who coming out of Airline led the state in receiving, playing 5A. He had, I think, 100 catches, 1,800 yards, 24 touchdowns, and he's already said, hey, look, I'm shutting it down. I'm not entertaining anything else. I'm trying to be that next LSU great receiver. And Destrahan's got Jabari Mack, a top 100 prospect, who is ranked as one of the top receivers in the country. So just here in Louisiana alone, you've got 3 guys who I think are probably all going to finish as top 10, 15 receivers in the country. And that's exactly what that group of, Hilton and Brian Thomas and Malik Neighbors all were like. It was all guys who were considered, high-end, top 20 type guys who come from Louisiana, and the hit rate on them is pretty good coming out of this state, whether they're highly rated or not. We've seen them go on and play in the pros.
Shea Dixon on 3, the Bengal Tiger is a dead period, man. Hope you get a little R&R during this time, man. We always appreciate you jumping aboard with us. We'll do it again next week.
Let's do it. Thanks, Matt. Appreciate it.
Thanks so much for watching the video. Do us a favor, subscribe to the channel, smash that like button, hit the bell so you're notified when we post a new video, and remember to support BetUS, where right now you can get a 150% bonus on your first deposit and a 125% bonus on your next 2 deposits up to $2,000. Be sure to use that promo code YouTube150.